Hello everybody, my name is Average Election Enjoyer. Today on December 3rd of 2025, I'd quickly just like to apologize. This video was supposed to be out last night, however, life happens and it is going to be coming out, of course, as you'll see it today on December 3rd. So this is going to be a video breaking down the Tennessee House special election for District 7 that we saw yesterday, that happened last night, featuring former GOP Representative Mark Green after he resigned to go work in the private sector. We see Matt Van Epps coming out on top with 53.9% of the vote to Afton Ben, securing 45% of the vote, resulting in an 8.9% margin of victory for Matt Van Epps here in this election. As you can see here, the map is the same in terms of districts. However, we could see just like every other special election that we've seen in this year, 2025, following Donald Trump's victory in 2024, we see another overperformance from the Democrats. In every single congressional special election we've had so far, there's been 5 of them, 2 in Florida, 1 in Texas, 1 in Arizona. We've seen double-digit overperformances by the Democrats. And in this district, a plus 22 Trump district in 2024, we see no difference in this result. And just to first break down the biggest swings we see, starting at the small swings. Small swings, just like this has been a common theme for these special elections. In the more rural counties, you see very minimal swings towards the Democrats. You still see swings to the left, but they are in fact smaller than what is going to be the main warning signs for Republicans that we're going to be seeing later on. So if we go to Wayne County, Van Epps 84.6 to Ben's 14.6. We look over here, 86.2 to 12. So not a big overperformance at all. And this is a common theme for a lot of these more rural counties, as you can see here. High 70s compared to again, high 70s in the past years. I'm gonna see there are definitely small differences in all of these counties, but you don't see a big difference in support in between these like more rural counties from 2024 to now, and that is a common theme. However, the biggest shifts we could see are definitely in these more suburban counties here. Montgomery County, 53 to 45. So that is almost similar to what the end result would end up being. A lot of people, or not a lot of people, but it was known that if Afton Ben wanted to win this race, she would have to win Montgomery County, and it would end up being a very good, example on how this race is, because you can see it ended up very similar to the margins here. Ended up being a good bellwether for this race as a whole. As soon as people saw this county going in Van Epps' way, it was known that Afton Ben was not going to be winning. However, looking at the results here, could be seen that it was still going to be a very good performance from the Democrats. In the last video, when I was talking about this election, I said 20 points would be what the Republicans want, 15 points would be a bad performance, and under 10 would be edging close to under 5 would be a disaster, under 10 would be very bad. So this is a very bad performance from the Republicans here. 13-point swing to the Democrats here, continuing with the trends. Especially we'll see in the cities here. This is going to be a big warning. This county here, Davidson County, has part of Nashville. Is going to be a big warning sign for Republicans for the future. But anyways, Clarksville 53-45 almost matched the results here. If we go to 2024, 58 to 38 goes from a 20-point margin to about an 8-point margin here. So overperformed by like 12 points. That's a very substantial shift seen here in Montgomery County. It wasn't enough to win the election. However, it was still a substantial shift, and I will get into later on why we saw the results we did and that sort of things we might see. Robertson County 71, more rural county 72. See, these more rural counties, as I was saying earlier, are mainly remaining close to what I mean. You see small Democratic improvements, but that's just because they're special elections. Even though, interestingly, the amount of votes are very close to the 2022 total. So this was almost a midterm level of turnout sort of election. So that is going to be interesting to see. This might be a very good indication of how 2026 is going to be looking for. And again, in Franklin, Williamson, Franklin's the city. Williamson County, Van Epp 61 to 38. We go back to 2024, 65 to 32. So you can see Ben got 5% more of the vote, got obviously less than total vote, but that's because this is a presidential year. But as you see, so Democrats did do especially big overperformance here, just not enough to win. Not as big as an overperformance here, but that's because it's a somewhat more rural county, and then small overperformance here. But this is going to be the big swing. This is where you see the biggest swings in Virginia and New Jersey, and a lot of special elections is inside these cities. The cities have been waking up in these special elections. Here we can see, just for example, 2024. Megan Barry, in facing Mark Green, who is the past incumbent for the Republicans, won 67 to 30, winning by 37 points here in Davidson County. Very good result for her in terms of just margins. However, Afton Ben, 77 to 25. That is a 56%. That is a 56-point win here for Ben inside Davidson County. As you can see, just in terms of the vote, she almost quadrupled the amount of votes that Van Epps got. Major vote sink here for the Democrats. And if you know about Tennessee, you know that there was once a blue seat here that encapsulated Nashville. However, it has been split up into three. There is one seat, however, that is a little bit to the left of House District 7, and I will talk about that later as a potential if this trend in Nashville continues, and just the Democratic trend in getting in cities really turning out like they need to for the Democrats. That could be another race that could be very scary for the Republicans here. And so as you can see, huge overperformance difference, 37 points to 56. Huge difference in the city here, making this election very close. And now I'm going to go and see some of these past elections. We can compare the sort of margins here. As you can see, this is the result from yesterday's election. As I said, 8.9 points. It might be different on here, but it's not fully updated yet. 2024, we already saw that, 59 to 38. So again, very healthy overperformance from the Democrats in this race, 59, 38, 21 points to 9, or to below 9 points. Very good performance from Afton Ben here. 2022, which is a midterm year, keep that in mind. Mark Green would win 108,421 to 68,973, winning by 22 points total, with, keep this in mind, 180 total votes cast. Now, we go here to the 2025 results, 179,899. This is a ridiculously high turnout for a special election. Just to keep that in mind, that is something that is very interesting. And since you can see the votes are about the same, Democrats gained like over 12,000 votes here, almost 13,000 votes. Republicans lost a lot of votes. So you can see that there is persuasion here that is occurring in this district, likely in the cities and more suburban areas As we saw, the big swings were in Montgomery and Davidson counties here. Rural counties mainly remain the same. So we saw persuasion in those two counties. We go back to 2020. Again, huge win for Mark Green, the incumbent. And then beyond that, this is the past district. It got redistricted in 2020, so you can't use anything past. But in 2020, huge margin of victory for Mark Green here, 42 points. So not even close. So 2020, not even close. 2022, midterm election, 22 points, not even close, safe result. 2024, 21 points, not even close, safe result for the Republicans. And here we go to 2025, a special election with the turnout of a midterm, 9 points. That is only a likely margin for the Republicans in this seat, and that is something that Republicans should be fearing. Because the reason why. So this was a race that featured two candidates, and neither had any controversies. Matt Van Epps was a fairly he's well respected Republican. Afton Benn, of course, no major controversies for her either. Democrat in good standing. Neither one of them were particularly unpalatable in this election. And this is especially interesting because Afton Benn won the early vote, which is something that was kind of expected, but it wasn't expected in the margins and how she won it. That's why if you were looking at the election, she held the lead for a decent amount of time. Matt Van Epps come out to a early lead when they did all these more rural counties, but when Nashville got put in, Nashville, like the results got updated, she had the lead by about 8 points. And the reason is because she won the early vote by about 8 points. However, Matt Van Epps did very well in the day of vote, in the voting day votes that he collected. He won by 67-33 almost in the early votes, so a good performance for him. But that is scary for the Republicans for this reason. If you didn't know, in the weeks before this election, it gained a lot of media attention, which probably played to some sort of detriment for Afton Benn's campaign. The reason why Democrats have been doing very well in lower turnout elections, especially in these special elections. That's why you don't see Republicans doing very well at all. Is Republicans are staying home and Democrats are very motivated. That's not to say the Democrats are very popular right now, because all the polls indicate they are below water, but it indicates that regardless of that, Democrats are turning out to vote and Republicans are not. And that was looking to be the case in this election. However, the Republicans would hold a last-minute rally. Mike Johnson, both of the senators from Tennessee, several House of Representative members, several state legislature members, and Donald Trump would call in to this rally, and they would put millions of dollars into this race. Now, that's not to say the Democrats didn't do the same. Democrats would also put $1 million into this race, and AOC would, in fact, along with others, would in fact hold a virtual rally on Afton Benn's behalf. However, in such a Trump leaning area, this is of course a Trump plus 22 district. Trump has a lot of this. The majority of this district are people who were Trump supporters and Republicans, and are very willing to return home to their party in races like this. That sort of late push gave Matt Van Epps the day of sort of vote count that he needed for this election. However, that is not great news for the Republicans, because that says that if they want to win in districts like this, now they were likely not going to win the district regardless, even if they had the rally, but it was going to be close. It would have been under 5 points likely of a margin if they didn't get people to come out on the day of the vote. It would have been a lot closer than it was, even though this was a very close result for a district like this. And this just indicates how there are not going to be as many safe Republican seats as you might imagine for this upcoming 2026 election. This is giving Democrats the ability to go on the offensive. This seat here in what should have been an uncompetitive seat where the Democrat gets thumped by 25 points, instead turned out to be a scary election for the Republicans. They had to bring in the big dogs. They had to bring in the Speaker of the House. They had to have the president call in, and give a little speech at their rally over the microphone. They had to bring in senators. They had to bring in House of Representatives members to win in a plus 22 Tennessee seat. And that is not a good sign for the Republicans going forward in these 2025 special elections and continuing into the 2026 midterms. There was a thing where Republicans were saying blue state, blue result. They were sort of pushing off the Virginia and New Jersey, and this is what happens. A lot of them, I imagine, were thinking red seat, red result, and it got close. And now you see some celebration of this result from the Republican Party. And again, I'm gonna keep warning the Republicans on this. You can't have your cake and eat it too on this. You can't say blue state, blue results for a flip in Virginia, and what was a very close election for the governors last time around. You can't say that and then come over here and celebrate a result like this, because this isn't a disaster, but this is very close. This is not a result that if you want to do well in the midterms, you would want to see. This is very bad. This is very bad. Democrats gained 13,000 votes from the last time this had a similar, from the midterms. This is at midterm level turnout, and they gained 13,000 votes, and Republicans lost just that amount, like about that amount. Like this is not good if you are a Republican. And again, you need to look at your party, and you need to have an introspection on how these kind of disasters are occurring, because this is the 5th time in a row now where in a special election you've underperformed by double digits, like anywhere from 12 to like 19, 20. You're just overperforming by obscene amounts of votes, and this one was midterm level turnout. Think about what's going to happen in 2026 if the Democrats are even able to overperform by 8 points across the board. And because then it would be a disaster. You would lose the House by 20, 30 seats. This is just, if you're a Republican here, looking at these results, you need to stop. You need to stop saying we won, we're going to look over it, and then looking at other elections and saying, oh, it's blue leading seats, and just ignoring it. You need to stop ignoring the results. You need to look at why voters are turning on you, and you need to get on it, and you need to fix that problem. However, on the contrary, if you are a Democrat and you are viewing this, you should be elated. You should be very, very excited, because this is midterm turnout, and they overperformed by 12, 13 points. They kept up the margin that they were looking at, even though Republicans had a last minute sort of surge with bringing in the big dogs, Mike Johnson, and having Trump vote in. A lot of very popular things, having a big get out the vote effort, putting millions into ads, even though Democrats put millions back, but they didn't put as much money in or bring in as many prominent figures as the Republicans did, and yet they narrowed up this margin. That's indicating that there is persuasion. That's indicating that your voting base is excited to turn out in these smaller elections, and that spells good things for 2026. So if you're a Democrat and you are disappointed by this result because the Democrat didn't win, then you should not be. You should be happy with this result, because this carries on with the trends that we've been seeing in these special elections, and those trends spell good things in the future of the Democratic Party and bad things for the future of the Republican Party. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.